Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 8th, sorry. A little past 11. It's time for another update. I am now into watering my plants mostly every other day, except for the bigger boxes here, the corn plants, either the broom corn or the sweet corn. I'm now soaking them once a week based on something I read. So, that's one thing about gardening. You can just keep looking stuff up on the internet and try different things. Lemon cucumber's doing okay. These two pots, not so much. No real progress there. I'm not sure the last update I did, but we've got a strawberry planter in the garden now. Something I was out with a friend and just spotted this thing. It was on sale and everything, and I said, well, you know, that's one thing I don't have in my garden this year is strawberries. So this whole planter where you get it's the whole package. You get the pot, you get the soil, or medium. The soil is compacted into a hockey puck, and you add 2.5 cups of water in this case, and it expands, and they give you the seeds, and you drop the seeds in, plant them, and they tell you to aerate the soil with a fork. And it dawned on me, and here's another little budget tip for you folks, you can use the fork to label the plant. You got plastic forks lying around, you can use them to label your plants. The beans, wow, we're having some real progress here. This plant here, not so much going on. I mean, it is working its way up. That's good. But the real sort of surprise was looking carefully at the plants and realizing, okay, see if I can get this in frame. There's a bean. There's another bean back there. There is, let's see if I can find it, somewhere down here. Ah, there we go. A nice big one. I think I counted 6 beans on that plant. Not bad. Our middle plant, still growing. Flower came and went. Not much there, but that was only transplanted a little while ago. Then we got another pole bean plant here where we already have a couple of beans on that one. And we have another plant over here which I'm not sure if it's pole bean or something else. This is the one I was looking at and saying, you know, this is an interesting sort of pod here. If this was a regular snap pea, the spine wouldn't be nearly as thick as it is. So that's why I'm thinking this is actually lima bean. And then there's another bean starting to grow right there. Although that one's starting to look more like a pole bean. So I don't know. If that's a pole bean, then this is a mutant. Which happens from time to time. Anyway, we have the other small bean plant here. Not doing much. We have one of the crooknecks, Dixie. That's not doing too much, but it's still alive. We have the other 3 types of squash, which I've tried to plant from seeds I saved from squash that I bought. They're not doing much. Even to the point where, let's see, the earliest planted one was planted a month ago. So, I don't know. We'll see. Oh, by the way, I'm still getting over the cold. The sweet corn's doing nicely. Kind of hard to get it in frame here. So, again, that's one that I'm just soaking once a week. Tomatoes are doing wonderfully. We get the 2 newer tomatoes there. We get the first tomato from this plant, or the first for the new year tomato of this plant. That one's still doing okay. It looks like it's getting bigger, but every time I measure it, which is unscientific, I basically just stick my finger underneath it and go, oh, it makes it up to the knuckle. That's not doing much. Anyway, we have new buds on the plant here, over there, and a couple more over here. Let's see if we can get it that way. So that's how that's doing. And now for the mystery plant, which I'm going to have to call mystery plant now because somebody's saying that it doesn't look like the dandelions that they have where they are. Well, I've seen something like this here in California, mainly at my dad's place. Up on the side hill next to his house, he gets these weeds that grow literally to about 4 or 5 feet. And it takes them like a month to grow that tall. It's amazing how fast they grow. And I have to climb up the hill and yank them out. And I guess I'm not getting the whole root because they grow back. So this looks an awful lot like that, and those plants looked an awful lot like dandelion. That's why I thought this was dandelion. So maybe it's a different variety of dandelion. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let's go look downstairs. Actually, before we do that, one quick thing here. My basil plants are doing beautifully, to the point where I'm now like picking 4 or 5 leaves and sticking them in with the pasta and just having fresh basil with my pasta. It's wonderful. But I wanted to point out that the early part of this planter here, the first half, was actually planted with something called cinnamon basil. And now I'm starting to realize, I think the sort of purplish top there, I think that's the cinnamon part of the cinnamon basil. So it's actually got a purple leaf and a green leaf. I'm not sure if I can actually eat the purple leaves, but I actually picked a couple of them off and they were really, really pungent. Good pungent. So, or good strong. Anyway, back to downstairs. So the downstairs plants, I've actually done some more transplanting here. We'll start with the scallop squash, is doing really nicely. There's a spaghetti squash that was sort of half in, half out, and I decided to transplant it in a big pot, which somebody gave me recently. And then there's a yellow straight neck, or straight neck squash, one of your standard yellows. Anyway, that one, I think that's the one I transplanted. Yeah, that's another one I transplanted over the weekend. And then some real sort of progress here. Let's see if I can actually show you. Let me actually zoom in a bit. And I don't know how well you can see it, but there are what appear to be some flowers starting to pop in here. So finally we're going to get some flowers. And there is, this one may be hard to see, so I'll try and zoom in on this. Don't know how well you can see that, but it looks like in one of the crook necks I've actually got a female flower starting to pop with an actual fruit on it. And if we back out again, we finally have, let's see, what is that? This is spaghetti. That's the old spaghetti. It was actually getting to the point where it was starting to grow into the large plant here, the one in the square planter. So I've now changed it so that it's working its way up the wall, so it can continue to get sun, but it's slightly shaded, which is kind of what it was getting. So I'm hoping that that's still good for it. There's a lot of dead leaves on there, but we'll see. Let's take a look at the smaller plants. So basically no major progress here except for the ones that I transplanted over to the other side into the bigger pots. This kind of gives you an idea. I've got one scallop squash that's doing nicely. That should probably be the next one that gets transplanted. And finally, the coyote squash, doing nicely. I put in a 6-foot pole next to the 3-footer, and it's climbing up there. It's even got those nice curly tendrils sticking out to grab on. So that's pretty much it from the garden. I'm sorry this one turned out to be kind of long, but we'll see.